We are live, coming here with a brand new Stir the Pod podcast show. I'm your host, Trevor, and tonight we're joined by Andy. Andy, how are you doing tonight?
What up, what up?
And we're also joined by Alex. Alex, how are you doing tonight?
Yo, yo, yo.
And we are here, episode 3. This is a very interessante episode, especially for this pod, I think. We have two people we love bashing heads with each other, throwing themselves into an elimination. I mean, there's a lot to unpack this episode, but I think the biggest thing, I'm fired up. I mean, there's one thing I hate that happened this episode, and we'll get into that, but this wasn't a boring episode. Have we flipped a page in challenge history? Are we back?
Do we need to bust out the old segment, the challenge back meter?
It might, and it's early. It's early. Are we back?
It was really good.
We're all the way back. And not only was tonight's episode incredible, we're coming off the back of the Era Invitational. Love that episode. Now this is like the first real start to finish episode, and it was a banger.
It was.
And we learned about how the format's going to be. We'll dive into it, but it was incredible. And I hate to say it, we got a little taste of what's next. And not only do we have trivia this season, we got trivia next week.
I mean, next week is one of the biggest episodes of the year. I mean, we might have to make our own trivia and ask some of you guys. Ooh. Boogie Brown might pop out of on that. Boogie on way. But we are here, episode 3 recap show. I am excited. That's all I can leave it at. I'm excited. I'm ready to just dive right in. Alex, do you even want to say anything? Are there any opening thoughts? I'm just fired up. F you.
I think we just dive right in. And you look at the first 4 episodes being the opening episode, which is always good, followed by the Air Invitational, followed by tonight, which we're going to break down, which we all love, followed by trivia episode. That's like, not to say next week is going to be a banger, but that has the potential to be 4 bangers in a row to start the season.
Absolutely.
For season 40. That's awesome.
Absolutely. So let's just dive right in tonight's episode. First off, shout out Ryan McCord, Mikey the Doctor. Love to see you guys in the chat tonight. But let's start with the Who's Back of the Week. The biggest Who's Back of the Week. The streak. We're here. I don't know if you guys saw all 8 people walking in at the same time. They definitely were strategically put in front. Like, there was a good gap in between the two. So who's back? I know Andy was the one who found out the streak and stuff like that. So, yeah. Andy, what do you have to say about the streak?
You know, my streak is back. So I'm excited. I noticed it. It always puts a smile on my face ever since Andy, was the first one to ever notice it. So everything about the challenge is just all the way back. And it starts with the streak.
Alex, I know you weren't a big fan of the streak last season. What was your opinion?
Go fuck yourself.
Whoa. Why are you upset?
I invented the streak.
What do you mean?
I invented
PBOs only. Why are you all grumpy? Ropa. I mean, come on. Why are you upset?
I'm fine.
You just relax. So let's talk about back at the house. First thing we kind of see, and Alex, I know you're kind of our challenge historian, and I kind of want to dive into some of these things. I saw a little rumor of some of the storylines of this house that MTV purchased this season. Like, there weren't bedrooms; it's all been makeshift. Can you add anything so people back home might know? Like, I heard there's only 2 bathrooms, and it was clog day 1 or something like that. Like, can you like? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, Andy and I said this was like one of the best challenge houses of all time. We just completely misread it.
Well, no, I think we're reading it right, but I think the discrepancy here is that the house isn't an actual house. From the rumors from the intel that I've been able to gather so far, is that like this place that they're staying in is basically like a big wedding venue, and it's not like meant for like, 20 people to go on a trip together with like their friends or whatever. Like, it's meant to like host a one night, nobody's really staying there. So they have all these rooms that like they don't normally have furniture in, which they had to pull in all of these beds. That's why That's why they had. That's why they have, I think, one bathroom for each gender. And that's it. And there's been rumors about like the pool in the outdoor area that we've seen them at a few times is like half a mile down the road, but because it's on the complex, but it's not like close to the wedding venue.
They're
But
just taking meters back and forth.
so I'm sure more is going to come out in terms of the house living environments, but to put 40 people into that house from day one and to think that 2 bathrooms is going to be fine is just stupid.
Well, it's a shame that Anissa already got to the bathroom as early as she did, and now they're down to 1. Does anyone else kind of smile and chuckle a little bit when TJ says, like, this is our challenge. Welcome to beautiful Vietnam. Does anyone just like kind of get a little kick out of the fact that they're doing this in fucking Vietnam?
I mean, it's bananas, literally. Like, I mean, they're just going for the cheapest spot in the possible. I mean, like Alex said, I mean, it's a wedding venue. Like, what are they doing? Like, come on. I need somebody to find this wedding. Like, someone in the chat, Ryan McCord, Mikey Dr. Dabu, somebody find this venue on if it's Airbnb, if it's like Vietnam.com/wedding venues, like whatever, like something. I need them to find this spot. I mean, maybe if we get maybe if it's cheap enough, maybe Andy, me, and Alex will fly out and spend a night in the house or
Ooh.
wedding venue. Or hell, I mean, 2 of us still need to get married. Maybe we have our wedding there. God, but something that is very funny, being a wedding venue, where I was going with, is the love in the air in this house. Some of these relationships that we have seen, if it's Josh and Naya, if it's Naya and Kylan, Brad and Emily, I mean, what are we doing?
So, I mean, I think it was my honorable mention for MVP of Love Triangles last week, specifically calling out Naya, Kylan, and Josh, and it's already delivering. It's awesome. And also, don't sleep. The whole Emily Brad, it's just a shame because I still think Emily is a rocket and Brad just looks like a I don't necessarily want to say like a drunk, but like a construction worker whose son's playing like or like Little League baseball, and he's just like standing on the fence like an outfield because the other parents don't want to sit with him because he's just loud and obnoxious and has a little bit of a smell to him. That's Brad. So the fact that that's what Emily's going for is a shame. But you also had Devin and Michelle and Olivia and Theo, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Were there any other ones? Like they did a quick pan of like a whole bunch of people. Were there any others that were missed? I feel like that was it, but that's a good amount.
I saw, wasn't there a Michelle? Did you say Michelle and Devin?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, what is going on?
They did the classic. I think that was later in the episode, but they did the classic "Love is in the air" montage. I feel like that's kind of a challenge staple.
Yeah. God, your Brad was perfect. You just needed to give an impression. Can you give an impression of Brad? Kind of like, oh, look at me, I'm Brad. Like, do you have anything like that?
Oh, look at me, I'm Brad. Look at my beard. Look at my hair. I'm so strong. I have nothing else going on with my life, but I'll go into elimination.
Holy shit, is that Brad? The higher level guys will understand that one. All right, let's go right into the challenge. We got a good old fashioned rowing around the island. You're eating. Was it 8 plates or 6 plates? It was 8 plates, right?
Yeah.
8 plates of garbage, whatever it was, and then you had to put the seasons in order. What did we think about this aspect of the challenge and the whole rule of you're nominating captains at this moment?
So I'll go first, maybe for the challenge part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I liked this challenge overall. I didn't love it, and I feel like the reason why, it was very entertaining to watch. I like seeing all 4 of them go at once. It's a race. You can see who's in first place and last place. And the thing is, I liked all 3 stages. I liked the rowing. I liked the eating is always a challenge staple and putting the challenge seasons in order. But I almost wish that they wouldn't have all been in the same challenge, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like they kind of had to speed through some of the stuff. And I feel like they could have spent like some more time on the eating or some more times on, Bananas thinks this season came before this season, but Kara disagrees and they're fighting over it. Like, I feel like there was enough like meat on the bone to really spend more time on this challenge. And I don't think we should have, but I think they maybe should have been split out into like take the seasons thing and put it as part of a challenge in episode 5 or something. Like, I really liked all pieces of it, but I think as a whole, it didn't really work that well.
I think they burned that card too early. I agree, Alex. Like, I love the classic, put the challenge seasons in order. Why are we doing an episode 3? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm surprised that wasn't like an elimination. Like,
and then you have like Wes or Bananas from the top rope just yelling out everything,
which we might get into.
It kind of gave me the vibes of a mini final. Like when they do the mini final dailies, like it wasn't, run 5 miles and all that, but the mini finals are just very long, drawn out dailies. And at the end of this, I was like, they just did a lot. Like, kind of felt like a mini final.
And that's kind of the thing, is that like I feel like in episode 7 or 8, like we're probably at some point we're gonna get a challenge, a daily that we don't like. And I feel like they would have been much better off doing like a daily then where it's like run up the mountain, run back, and then when you get back, have to put the seasons in order. Or you have to get to the top of the mountain and then eat some disgusting food. Like, I feel like they had, like, the rowing is obviously like, it's not super entertaining, but it's a classic thing to put in a daily. I feel like this one should have been just like rowing, you get to the end. I know we hate puzzles, but you put puzzles together or you move something. Like, I feel like combining all 3 of these things was just a weird choice, and you have so many more dailies to go through.
What do we think about performances? I mean, I think Tony had some great lines tonight. Him eating is just, it's special. It is really special. There's stuff where you're like, oh, I want to take like CT in a hall brawl. I want to take this person in a puzzle. Tony eating is might be number 1. Like, it is crazy how good he is at that. I don't know how, but
it really is like Beethoven and a piano. Like when you put those two together, magic happens.
PB&J, Andy and Trevor, it's just those dynamic duos. Like, they're just good.
Did anyone else think for a second that Era 1's boat was going to capsize, or was that just me? There was a lot of weight on that boat.
God, could you imagine like if Devin started swimming again? Like, he's just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna start swimming. Wasn't that something? Now I'm not getting off the tracks. We'll keep it going. But essentially, from this, we had Era 3 picking out the dub. So the captains were Tony and Avery. Era 2 finished second. Era 4 finished third, and Era 1 finished last. So Darrell and Jody went in and then basically TJ explains essentially, you good? What?
Go ahead.
Essentially, then we basically get between 2 and 4, those captains, which were who were the captains of 4? It was Casey's brother and Kyland. And then in 2 was Derek and Aviv going in. So you kind of know those 2 teams, Avery and Tony, got to pick one of them. It's episode 3. Can't be that hard to pick with one team. So that's where we left. We go back to the house. Go ahead.
Wait, let me just do one last little observation of the daily that I thought was very smirky. So Era 1 kind of sucked. Again, I thought their boat was going to start taking on water. And the just chef's kiss to that was when they got to the eating challenge. And it's just close-ups of CT and Anissa both just shoveling down food, and now they're right back in the mix. And it was just like, you clowns almost sank a boat, but now we got to eat. Game on.
I mean, should we be worried about Era 1? Like, they got to be the first team gone, right?
They're like 45.
No, they're like 55.
There's like stuff that they could be good at. Like next week, they might kill trivia. It's trivia. There's like stuff
they
that
might
they could
kill
be good
trivia
at.
by killing CT. Like, come on.
Well, spoilers. But like there's in challenges like this where they have to go from point A to point B, and point B is further than the distance of like starting at the drive-through window and ending, like they're gonna have problems. Like they're all just old as shit. Like really the only one is that's like kind of still like in decent shape is Darrell. Like Darrell, you still have faith in Darrell. He's not prime Apex Mountain Darrell, but like aside from that, and I guess CT, but aside from that, like everybody has just lost a step.
I think
CT's
Darrell
looking big.
I thought Darrell looked bad. His Bach. He might have thrown out his Bach.
I mean, that's just Era 1. You got everyone's overweight. Everyone is one misstep away from a real serious injury. Like, that's just what happens when you get to your 40s. You're not cut out for this.
Late 40s.
50s. I don't know. So then we go back to the house, and we have this 1.5 mile walk for this toga party. And honestly, kind of a weak party. Thoughts?
You think so?
I kind of
Yeah,
like
I mean, I don't know. I think it was
What
quirky
makes you
to see, but like, I mean, it's kind of, I don't know, más o menos.
So let me go this route with you. I disagree, because everyone was clearly having fun. I don't think we saw a lot of the party. Like, we saw the entrances and all that, and then it cut to all the, the love montage, if you will. But everyone clearly seemed like they were drinking a lot. I think that's what led to a lot of the love shots, and people like sitting out like late night, looking very drunk, talking shit about Josh and how Naya's in bed with Kylan, and like.
But we need even more booze, and we need more.
I don't disagree.
Yes,
but let me go this route with you. This was the first like time that I can recall a party, a club, go out to the bars, anything like that, where people actually looked like they were having fun and were getting into reasonable trouble. You know what I mean? Like, no one really drinks anymore. And I feel like when they do those, fake clubs, or when they went to that one igloo all season, like, no one looked like they were having fun. People actually looked like they were having fun tonight.
I agree. I think this wasn't like, you think back to like, the first episode of Rivals. I feel like they had an awesome party, or like back in most of those seasons, like they start those seasons and like they have the crazy parties that feel like they go on for half the episode. This wasn't that, but this was definitely not. It was also not like we don't even really get parties over the past 6-7 seasons. Like, and I think you could feel that just statistically, only at this point, 25% of the cast was from Era 4. Whereas like a season ago, all of cast was Era 4, right? At past 5 seasons, they were all that. And so in Era 4, like they are all just trying to talk about strategy and all of that. Whereas you saw this time where you had, Rachel and Derek and Darrell and all these old heads who just want to like have fun. You even got a CT pro tip where he like said it straight on. He said like, like people like don't really have fun anymore. And a couple other people said this in their confessionals too. Like people on the challenge, like it seems like they take it so seriously nowadays. And like, that's not fun for us as viewers. And I'm sure it's not fun for those, the veterans too. And so I enjoyed this party. It wasn't like the best challenge party of all time, but I feel like it was a good change of pace from the past few seasons we've had.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
I think Trev only qualifies it as a party if he just wants Darrell to beat the shit out of Brad. Unless that happens, it's not a real party. Fair?
Well, I would love if Darrell beat the shit out of Brad, especially this season. If you know what I
That'd
mean.
be awesome.
So, do we want to talk about the whole Naya and Josh and Kylan thing? Because that is kind of smirk, I think.
Yeah, let's do it.
Um, I mean, Naya, good for her, just doing whatever the fuck she wants. Kylan and I mean, first off, you're looking at these two guys, Kylan and Josh. It's a clear answer. Friend of the program, but come on. Like Kylan's a good looking dude. Come on. What are we doing here?
Josh is just he's a goof.
He is a goof.
Goof. And it cracks me up because
Friend of the program goof.
in this episode and last episode, we had two confessionals of Josh talking about Naya. And he's like, Naya's great. Like, I love her. I just really want to see how this goes. And it makes me think, like, Josh, you're not on like Love Island. You're not on Are You the One? Like, the purpose of this is not for you to meet someone and then see how things go and see if it progresses and if she's going to be your perfect match. Like, you're on the challenge.
Josh,
If you want to hang out and have a little fling, go for it. But let's not forget where you are. And that just made it so much funnier to me, especially when he gets out of bed after his girl that he wants to see where things go is in bed with another guy, and all of his quote unquote best friends are sitting around drinking, making fun of him. And then he gets out of bed, comes down, and then just starts berating Tori, making her cry. I think I saw a tear. So if we want to go stir the prop, which we could get into, you can put it on the board.
Yeah.
It was just great. I loved seeing it. I love the fact that all this came at Josh's expense, and he just doesn't know where he is or who he is, I don't think.
Alex, anything?
I don't know if there's a whole lot more I can add to that. I just think it's a good thing that all three of those people are still on the show. Like, none of them got eliminated. So, like, I'm excited to see this as kind of like a storyline that we can track for the next few episodes at least.
Absolutely. All right, moving on. We go to kind of the deliberation room. We hear kind of people's Derek and Aviv.
Chamber
The what? The chamber?
of secrets.
No, not those secrets. Derek and Aviv, Kylan and Casey pleading their case to Tony and Avery. And both Avery and Tony, you can kind of already see it, are very, no, we're going this route. No, you're going this route. And we kind of already see the stalemate. I think that was 7, kind of.
So, I mean,
The semi trap.
I feel like this decision takes up the bulk of like what this episode was, Tony and Avery not coming to a decision and then ultimately going into the elimination. Before we get to the elimination, like, what are your guys' thoughts on how it went down, right? Like, Tony wants to do this. Avery wants to do the opposite of that. They ultimately can't decide on an answer. So what do you guys think in terms of like how this all plays out?
That was good, Ryan McCord. I'll give you that one. Essentially, I don't understand why Tony's so upset. Really, I don't get it. Like, you obviously know Avery is like really good friends with Derek, and she's not going to say his name. You have zero ties to Casey and Kylan. It's the easiest vote in history. Just do that. So
it was interesting to hear once they got to the elimination. It was interesting to hear Avery say, I don't think Tony wants to be here. I think he wants to go home. In all seriousness, that makes the most sense of everything we saw tonight. Why he was being so hard-headed, why he just wasn't reasoning with her, and also his performance in the elimination itself.
Can I ask you this though? If he didn't want to be here, why did he beat Leroy last week? That's the only reason I don't like.
Exactly.
I'm mad at that.
So
He's also no. This is what it is. Tony's an idiot.
well, yeah.
Like let's just not overthink things. He's an idiot. He thought what he was doing was the best decision for himself, not for the team, clearly. And he said that. He said, I want to try to protect myself. He made this decision. It was so illogical. All of his teammates were mad at him for doing it, and it backfired in his face. Like, I love Tony. He's incredible, but he's an idiot. He's about as smart as a box of rocks. Like, I don't think he didn't have this grandiose master plan. He just thought, I want to do this. Oh, my teammate doesn't want to do this. Well, I want to do this. Almost like a toddler.
So,
Yeah.
so here's my take on this: is I personally feel like it doesn't make sense for any of the viewers or anybody on the season to be more mad at Tony versus Avery or vice versa. Like, I feel like you almost have to be equally as mad at both of them because, like, they both were in the exact same position. So I get it if you want to say, like, Tony, you're an idiot, just say the other team so that you yourself aren't nominated. But you could also literally say that exact same thing for Avery.
Yeah, but
They were
the difference
both idiots about it.
No, but the difference is the relationship. That's not even close. Derek and Avery literally live together. Like, she will never say his name.
Okay, but Tony, I think, first of all, I think Tony also has his own reasons for wanting to make connections with Era 4.
Because he's an idiot.
No, because he's at the bottom of Era 3's totem pole. That was proven on episode 1 or episode 2, whatever episode the voting happened. And also,
true.
I mean, before tonight, did anybody know or care if, like, Avery and Derek were friends?
It's not I follow Avery on Instagram. I clearly know.
It's not like we're talking about, like, the Evan and Kenny alliance from the old days. Like, these are two, like, low-level challengers.
Well, I know me and you are big JEK alliance.
Watch it.
Alex. So, like, I understand it's not to that level. I completely agree with you. Maybe to Andy it is because Andy doesn't like them. But essentially, you are best friends with this person. It is episode 3. Why would you ever say their name? And honestly, and I don't want to get too far ahead, good for Avery for not sticking to it.
Yeah.
I know, but also good for, like, you can say that exact same thing for Tony, though.
Yeah, everything you're saying is also true because, and this, like, I didn't think about it. The fact that Tony is low man on the totem pole is where this all stems from. Because if you just think like Era 3, who would Era 3 want to be most likely partnered with? It's got to be Era 2 more so than Era 4 because there's already relationships there. Era 2 is a very good team with some really good players, whereas Era 4 is a bunch of new people. We don't really know if they can help them out in the long run. But it's not – you can't view it as who's best for Era 3 because Tony is low man on the totem pole. So you're right. He had to think what was best for him. But, like, don't you think at some point in time when you go to the Chamber of Secrets, you come back, it's very clear Avery's not going to change her mind, and everyone else on your team is saying, just go with her. This is not what's best for our team. We don't need to, like, win and then lose because you can't get on the same page. Like, at what point in time do you just say, I need to bite the bullet and just stay? They won, and he got sent home.
I know. Terrible.
He's an idiot.
Andy, I'm on yours. I really think Tony is an idiot tonight. Like, it pisses me off because I love Tony and I love Avery.
And here's the thing, too, to, like, the same point of viewing it both sides. All right, fine. If you're willing to put yourself in elimination, you better fucking win.
Yeah.
Like, and that's another thing to think about. If you're Avery and Tony having these conversations about we might go in, Avery's looking across, and we didn't know it was elimination, but girl to girl, she's looking at Jody. Jody has like 3 missed book club sessions as a result of coming on this season, and she's pissed. Whereas, like, if you're Tony looking at Darrell, it's like, do you really want to even risk it? Like, you're going against Darrell. If it was like maybe Derek, or like if Derek and Aviv, other Derek, were already in, and Tony's like, I don't care what it is, I'll beat Derek regardless. But you can't have that just like overinflated ego, like heels in the sand, when the alternative is you going against Darrell.
Yeah, I think that the sentiment that you could tell from the cast during the elimination and like right when they were deciding was that Tony just didn't want to be there. And I don't think we're gonna ever know exactly why. Because I think to Trev's point, like, why wouldn't you just go home right away? But for whatever reason, if most of the cast that was standing there watching was convinced that Tony wasn't really trying and didn't want to be there, I think that just kind of throws off like a lot of the like I think the point that I'm trying to make, because like Tony at the end of the day, if he did want to go home, would have said like, I'm not changing my vote no matter what. I just think like to completely like absolve Avery of any blame for going in is stupid, because she also could have just changed her vote and she won, so it doesn't matter. She's back in the house. But like they both had the exact same option to switch their vote.
I don't think that's fair. They both had the option to switch their vote. I think their reasons are completely different, though. Like, I don't even think the reasons are close. My opinion.
I agree. And Avery won. She was able to back it up. She did back it up. And Tony's an idiot, and Avery's bad.
No, she is bad.
So, ipso facto, I rest my case.
Is this the first time this has happened since Zach and Amanda? Do we know?
I think this is the first time it's happened, and especially it's the first time it's happened where it was split. Like, one person stayed, one person left. It wasn't like together. Like, you know how Zach and Amanda went in together and they competed? It was split.
But I think these are the only 2 times, right?
I thought it happened before. I don't know.
I think usually you get the TJ peer pressure. You got to make a decision. We need to know what it is, and then ultimately somebody switches their vote.
Yes.
Maybe. Yeah. All right. So let's just, I guess, dive right into the elimination. Obviously, the stalemate happens. We'll start off. How about we do the guys first, because that was what was first. Tony versus Darrell. The elimination is this puzzle, essentially. You're basically just putting colors down. Essentially, there's certain rules where certain colors can't touch, and you're just building a ladder, essentially. Now, I thought the elimination was fine. It was all right. Nothing crazy. My biggest issue with this elimination is what it gets brought up every season is, why are we letting other castmates cheat and yell out answers to competitors? It is the dumbest thing in the world. It makes me want to go back to Alex's favorite season, Fresh Meat, where they compete in the forest and nobody sees an elimination. Like, low key, it would be kind of badass how everything went through, and there goes Alex already leaving, like always. I think Andy, and this is about to go off the rails, how badass would it be if the people who went into the elimination, they come back and they said, these people are the new captains or whatever.
Ooh.
Nobody would know why.
I like that.
Now, you might tell your team, but who knows if you actually would. You just be like,
that's so. I love where your head's at, but I think what they've already done in terms of the twists so far, the formats, if you win, you get power. Like, I honestly just love how everything's laid out right now.
no, I agree. And I'm being selfish, but I'm just saying, I hate the fucking crowd.
I totally agree.
It really bothers me.
I'm right there with you. It pisses me off because, like, well, but I guess here's another thing too. Tony's a fucking idiot. Like,
good. It would have been out there longer than Anissa on the fucking pig roast. That's fine.
Whoa.
Let him suffer.
Whoa. Let's be realistic.
What?
She would have died.
Yeah, I know. And because Darrell and Tony would have starved, to death, Anissa would have also starved to death. She would have went down there and cannibalized both of them. Like,
No,
it
no,
would
no.
have happened.
I could not agree more with what you're saying. I hate when it's an elimination and you're also like dealing with somebody's going to go home, but I guess strictly just to play like the other side of the coin, it further emphasizes why having good relationships in the game is vital to winning it. Again, I'm not a fan of that, but it does like further say like if you're an asshole to everybody and you get an elimination like this, it's better to have people on your side.
Bullshit.
I agree.
I think, and Alex and I were talking before the pod, have them face the face the crowd and have the signs blocking so they have no idea.
Ooh, I don't hate that.
Alex, thoughts on the Tony versus Darrell?
Yeah, the hearing input from the crowd is a great point. I think is probably the number one thing that kind of just ruined this elimination. Not ruined it because it was still fine to watch, but like it could have been a lot better. I hate when the crowd is able to just like they literally get to the point, especially with the girls because they went second, but like they just read the words loud enough for people to hear them. They're not even like understanding what the words mean. They're just letting, the Jordans, Devins of the world, like tell them what to do. So that's one thing. And just like real quick on the elimination too, I didn't love like the build the bridge. I liked the idea of it, but I think there would have been a better version. The better version of this elimination would have been like, have these rules that you have to like stick to, but like make it like a balancing thing. So where maybe you're like going across, because like you didn't really have to like walk the bridge. So you didn't have to like do anything, but like maybe like make it so where it's like 6 feet above the ground. And you have to like pick a color, balance, then you can fall off. Because I feel like those are the best types of these eliminations where people get frustrated, they get flustered, they're getting tired, they're listening to the crowd, and maybe like make the weight a little smaller, but have it more of like a frustrating thing to deal with.
Agreed. Because part of like a good elimination like this, like the perfect way that this would have gone down, probably in whoever made it, was you have to carry these heavy things. Like you have to do physical and mental both working together because it's hard to consciously think of that stuff when you're gassing yourself out. But when you have the peanut gallery doing the thinking for you, then it just becomes a matter of moving stuff and hoping that whoever's guiding you knows what's happening. And it's easier for them because they're just standing there watching. They're not getting physically taxed.
Can I ask you guys this? Do you think this elimination would have been better if they just said, line it up in this order: red, green, blue, orange, green, red, whatever, and it was first one to do it? So let's just say it was 25 colors in order and it's a sprint. Do you think it would have been a better elimination?
Well, I feel like it would have been similar just because of the crowd. Like Devin would have remembered the first 8 colors and then Jordan would remember the next 8. So like, I don't know, they would have done something like that.
Fair. I'm just thinking of like, it's as simple as possible. It's what color is it? Go. So like, it's no going back and forth. Oh, is it this color? Is it this color? Like, let's have this elimination be like 3 minutes and who can gut it out for 3 minutes.
I ain't mad at that.
So I don't know. So obviously, like we said, Tony lost to Darrell, which I know we joke around a lot of times on this podcast about Tony beating Darrell. Dirty 30. I think we might have to strip that.
Because now it's even?
It's even. And he lost to Ammo.
Tony did.
Tony did.
That is true.
Who?
I think we might have to strip.
Well, Darrell, good for Darrell. He got his revenge.
Yeah, good. Honestly, good win for Darrell. He might have thrown his back out. We'll see if that, happens. I mean, let's be real. Something's got to come from that. They want to just cut the CT and just be like, oh, I think he threw his back out. Also, honestly, fuck CT a little bit. That's 2 times in 3 episodes he's coming for Darrell's help.
He's been anti-Darrell.
Yes. We might get into that.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if we get a CT Darrell fight?
If
Like
there was
a
a fight,
Darrell fight circa like 2007 would be A1 entertainment. And now it would just be like, I'm picturing like a Family Guy cutaway of like two old guys with their walkers, and they just like pick up their walkers and they're just like poking each other. Like that's what this would be, but it would be so funny.
if Darrell got into a fight with CT and they both got kicked off, that would be one in their 50s. And if it's like a legit fight, like the black eye incident, like honestly, this might be a top 5 season of all time, like a lock.
Yes.
So, all right. So, like we said, Darrell picking up the win, good for him. And then we get Avery. We get Avery taking on Jody. Kind of a close elimination. I think it was only the difference of two puzzle pieces. And Avery picking up the dub. Love to see it.
Thank God.
Huge for her. Huge for Stir the Pod. And it also means she's safe for another episode, right? So, well, who knows? She might actually be voted in somehow again, but we'll get into that.
There's a lot of huge things about this elimination win. I think it was pretty close to like coin flippy in terms of like Jody versus Avery and something like this. But I feel like Avery again like had like the best team telling her exactly what to do.
Oh yeah.
And so I don't think either one of these girls would have gone super far in this game. I don't think Avery necessarily will. I hope she does. But I mean, it's
whoa.
first regular elimination we have.
What did you say? Can you repeat that line? What'd you say about Avery?
I said I don't think the winner of this would have gone far no matter what.
You don't think or you don't want?
Oh, okay. We're not doing this shit again. Come on. You don't think Avery's going to be top 10 this year?
I mean, we're almost to top 10 already, aren't we?
I know.
That's 50%.
God, wait, we have 15 people left now? We had 20 to start. 4 were eliminated during the first, then just 1 tonight. So we're at 15 left.
We have 15 girls left, yeah.
15 guys. Oh, my God. Well, so then we get to the final piece. The new power in the house. I think the best thing about the power is it happens instantly. You are on the spot. You're saying it. There's no going back to the house. There's no like, you don't like that, Andy?
I would have preferred a little
tease at the house before the next challenge.
I think it would have been great if it was once you get to the challenge, then you pick, because then you get to like see what it is, and that can obviously dictate who you vote in versus who you don't. And it also just makes for, in my opinion, better. I think it's more entertaining for us to see them like try to kiss the ring and, oh, well, I'll help you with this, I'll help you with that. And it also just adds another wrinkle to the game. But I'm not mad about it because, again, I think this is a great twist. And everything that has been implemented so far in the format is going to make every daily super competitive, every elimination super competitive, because you don't just survive, but you also gain power. So it's like thinking, like watching this episode, it's like, my God, like these episodes are going to be sweet.
Yeah.
I'm fired up.
I really like the twist, the targets, all of that. I feel like it's going to be not as much of like the idea of like setting a target against somebody isn't going to be like a super strong thing, because I think Avery even said it in one of her confessionals, like if I target you, there's a good chance you could go into elimination and win, and then you're just going to put your target on me. So I don't think it's necessarily like I don't think you can look like 5 steps ahead, because you're just trying to like do whatever you can, and if someone happens to end up in the elimination and then win, then they have power. So there's just like a lot of different moving parts, which I like. It's a fun thing to follow, and like I think at this point right now we have the targets for next episode, so like there's a very finite number of like guys elimination matchups that we could have and girls elimination. So like I think that's a fun thing too, is to like say, hey, I mean, we don't know if they're gonna end every episode with the targets, but if they do, we can say like, hey, next week there's it's either gonna be these guys against these guys. Like what are all the different matchups that we could have? What do we think? Like I think that adds a lot of fun as a viewer.
I mean, let it be known, like, there's a good chance it could be Bananas versus Jordan next week.
Aren't they enemies?
Come on.
Well, and one thing that's going to happen, like I was a little upset we didn't see a lot of the like politicking and I'll save you here, I'll save you there, but it's going to happen. Now that everybody knows this is going to be the format, like now you look at the targets and people are now going up to Jordan saying like someone like Josh, for instance, has incentive to go up to Jordan before anything happens and just be like, hey, like let's work together. We don't have to make it a big deal, but I work with you. If I'm ever safe, I won't throw you in, vice versa. Like now all that stuff's going to start happening. So it's going to be good. It's going to be a great ripple effect.
Sounds like it's going to be good.
Yeah, because I think you're going to have like people doing that, like trying to negotiate with people on other teams, trying to say, if this happens, I'll do that, you do that. But also like trying to make deals within your own team to make sure that your team stays strong and that you guys keep having a good shot at winning dailies. And then, word's going to get out that, Bananas hears that Nehemiah was talking to somebody on another team, and like that type of thing is going to start happening. So I'm excited for this.
Who?
Yeah, who?
Nehemiah.
He's on this season?
Let's before we continue to move on, the chat's been going on and on. I think we need to just do a quick roundtable of who we would take, prime CT or prime Darrell.
Darrell, for sure. He was a boxer.
I'm going Darrell too.
In a fight?
Yes.
I mean, CT's definitely got weight on him for sure. But can he throw a punch against a Gold Glove boxer?
I feel like the less regulated and the less officiated it is, gives CT a better chance.
It does.
I like that. In a true boxing match, it's Darrell all day.
Yeah.
I think even in a street fight, Darrell took Brad to the ground and punched his eyeball out in 2 seconds. And Brad was big.
God, he sounds big.
You remember that cut scene to him in his confessional where it's just black.
I was gonna say, if we did a Mount Rushmore of confessionals, I think the 1-1 might be the post Darrell Brad fight where you hear Brad talking for like a good 45 minutes or 45 seconds to a minute, and then they cut to him and his eye is just like the size of a softball and it's just all black. That was just one of the all-time confessional edits that we've had.
That was great.
Yeah. Anything else from tonight's episode before we get into some segments?
I enjoyed it. I think we have a lot of good momentum going.
I agree. I think tonight was a great episode. There's a few nitpicks that we always have every episode, but it was good.
Yeah.
The train is back on the tracks.
The train's full steam ahead. We know we have trivia next episode. At some point in time, like I'm almost like, when are we going to come down from this high? But I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. And again, based on this format, because this was the first time we actually saw the format, I think we're set up for a monster season.
Yeah, now we actually get to see like the people operating now that they know what the format is. That's always a fun sort of next step of the season.
Fire me up. All right, segments tonight. What do we got, Alex? This day?
All right, so first one is this day in challenge history. This is actually the 5th time this date has happened and have a challenge episode. So the first one is from Fresh Meat 1 on this day in challenge history.
Do you want me to ask it? Because I feel like this is your favorite season. and I know Andy's not a fan of fresh meat.
It
One.
is well, that's a good point. It's because it's my favorite season. I'll ask it since I kind of know it the best. And everybody in the chat also chime in as well. So on this day in challenge history, who did Darrell and Aviv beat in the elimination?
Theo. Kenny.
It was the last elimination of the season.
Ooh. Evan.
And it includes somebody who is also on this current season.
Anissa? Was she fresh meat?
No.
Derek and Diem?
Yes.
Bang.
Darrell and Aviv beat Derek and Diem, which people forget. Just a little flashback here. Tina and Kenny won the daily, and they had 3 other teams next to them, which were Wes and Kenny, Darrell and Aviv, and Derek and Diem. And TJ told Tina and Kenny, because they won, basically save one team and send the other 2 into elimination. And they saved Wes and Casey. Kenny saved Wes, but that was pre-rivalry. So
Wow.
Darrell and Aviv went in against Derek and Diem and sent them home.
Wes was the one that kind of stirred that whole
Talk.
rivalry out of nothing, and then Kenny just kind of silenced him, put him in his place, walked him like a dog for the rest of his challenge career.
Or it could have been Kenny and Johanna on the island.
Well, yeah, you got that, and you also have Teresa. Like, it was very clear that if Wes had a love interest, he better keep her away from Kenny. But that's just what happens when you're fucking Mr. Beautiful.
God. All right, so next question. On this day in challenge history, Rivals 2, Cara and Cook beat what team in the elimination?
Nobody. Electric chair.
That's a good guess.
Ah, damn.
That was one of the all-timers.
I know.
Amanda?
And Cara and Cook beat a girl who was on this season in Rivals.
Not Amanda? Kellyanne?
No. Think about
it wasn't the
era
upside
that
down.
Rivals 2 happened in. What?
It wasn't the upside down challenge.
No. I think it was the blind sword fighting.
Was it Naya?
No. Rivals 2. It's not Anastasia. Cara and Cook beat a girl on this season, probably in Era 3.
Now I'm blanking on Era 3.
This might be a good pick for Radar Watch, apparently.
Tori?
It was no.
Tori. Oh, Joanna and
John
fucking, I always say Joanna. Joanna and fuck, who was her name? Camilla? No,
No.
who's her partner? John A and fucking who?
Who was her partner?
Oh my god.
Jasmine was Rivals 1, correct?
No, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can picture her too.
How do you not know John A's partner? One of the classic challenge girls from this era. Oh, this is bad.
I know.
Cut this out.
I mean, I've never been a big Rivals 2 guy.
I'm a huge Rivals 2 fan, and I'm blanking right now.
Pretty sure I took it in my Mount Rushmore. Best when we did.
One of the classic challenge girls from this era to never win a ring. Thank you.
Who was with Sarah?
Nani.
She was with Nani?
Yes, John A and Nani. Thank you, McCord.
And
And I know
Johnny.
So we were talking about episode titles last week. The episode for this, for Rivals 2, it was called Thrilla and Camilla.
That's awesome. God, the Derek and Rob. Yeah, I remember that. Like,
There can Rob.
Yeah, John A. and Nani. They lost to Kara and Cook. People forget that.
how many eliminations did Kara and Cook go into?
I think 3.
Cook was pretty bad.
He is
It
bad.
was bad.
Her. So was that elimination? It was the one right before the final, right?
Well, I don't want to say that might come up in the future this day.
All right, whatever.
All right. So speaking of challenge titles, this isn't a trivia question, but on Final Reckoning, I found this. The episode title was called Shameless.
Oh, come on.
So not shameless, but shameless. All right. Last trivia question. War of the Worlds 2, Episode 1. Episode 1, the premiere of War of the Worlds 2. Who got eliminated on the first episode?
War of the Worlds 2.
Yes, it was a male, just one male from the UK.
Joss.
No,
Rogan.
I don't think anybody's gonna get this. No,
Rogan?
no, that was Vendettas. Rogan
He
was
was the first to go home,
Vendettas.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is War of the Worlds 2. I could probably show you guys a picture of this person.
Do
you
it.
probably still wouldn't
Please.
know his name.
I'm not looking at the chat. I'm blocking the chat.
Let me see if I can find it. All right, so this guy right here went home episode 1.
Oh my God. Who?
That person's
Declan Rice?
never been on the challenge.
Is that Declan Rice?
That person's never been on the challenge.
I have no idea.
His name is Sean.
White?
His name is Sean. I don't know his last name. Sean Lineker.
Jaeger?
Not Jaeger.
Did you say Jaeger?
Not. So Sean went home first. That was the last trivia question I had.
There's no way I'm guessing that.
All right. Should we do Radar Watch?
Yeah, radar watch. What's the order we're doing for this?
I'm gonna go with John A.
Oh, okay. You go. Sounds good.
I'm gonna go with John A. Just because I when I was reading her as part of the trivia question, you guys took like 2 minutes to answer, so I was like, kind of makes sense.
Joanna's really good.
I'll go Nehemiah. I'm still not convinced he's on this season. I don't know what era he's in. I don't know what he's been doing, what he's been up to. Nehemiah.
Wait, so Nehemiah, or as Trevor would call him,
Niedermeyer.
okay.
Honestly, this is gonna be controversial because I feel like this person was correct. He might have had one confessional tonight, but he's kind of just slid and hasn't said much. And he's a top dog. I'm going Jordan tonight.
God, you bulge at the Jordan Radar Watch.
I don't think he said that much tonight.
Well, that's the thing. Trevor wants to see Jordan 17 times an episode, and if he doesn't reach that, then he's like, did we really get a lot of Jordan?
That's fair. Did we tonight?
He nominated himself to be a target.
And that was the moment. But before that moment, what do we get?
Not a whole lot.
All right. What do we got? MVP, LVP? All right. You guys know what to do. Send us the order.
We got some interesting conversations in the chat. I don't know if you guys see that.
Yeah, that was good. Ryan, what?
All right.
MVP, LVP.
All right. MTD.
Alex, MVP, who you got?
My MVP of the night, I'm gonna go with Avery. I wasn't a fan of the whole like discussion in terms of what was right and what was wrong. I'll leave all the LVP picks to someone else maybe. But I just think MVP Avery did the best she could for somebody who is typically not that good at the challenge. And she was looking bad when she was doing it. I think McCord said in the chat, she was giving the daggers to everybody that was looking at her, and that just made her even badder. And I agree. So I just think Avery winning, not her first elimination, because I think she won some with Johnny Portland, but her first elimination solo against Jody. I know it's 45-year-old Jody, but still a champ. So I'm going MVP Avery.
Avery's awesome.
She's bad.
She's so bad.
And for all our listeners, go to Avery's Instagram. She's been posting a Hooters link where you can go vote on her for Miss Hooters or something. You can vote up to 10 times. So just go do that.
Well, let's get her on.
We're trying. We're trying.
I don't know. I don't think we can.
I don't think I'd have to go no camera.
Yeah, the MVP.
Avery was my clear pick.
Andy, are you in a pool?
I'm gonna go with God. This is honestly kind of tough. I guess I'll go. You know what? I'm gonna go with the format.
God, you son of a bitch!
I'm gonna go with the format. This was like we've had a great season up until now, and this was kind of the first like, all right, what is this season actually going to look like? And I love it. I think the dailies are going to be competitive. There's going to be a lot of drama, and the eliminations are going to be not only super intense, but you also get some power for winning them.
Great pick. Honestly, I'm pissed. I thought that was going to sneak through. Oh, this is tough. Alex, anything?
I think that was a good pick.
All right. Well, now I got to think of an MVP. I think those two were great picks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My MVP tonight is going to be ROTC. Is going to be my MVP tonight. Return of the club. We're back. The club is back. The vibes are hot. I love it.
Wait. You were skeptical
I was skeptical.
of the club just like 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm back on the club. I'm
Because
all
of
in.
what we said.
Yeah. I
You
like
changed
what
your mind?
Alex said about the club. And I really think, honestly, like there was no other performance tonight that stood out to me. I don't think a person deserved it. And I think to see these challengers happy, maybe challenger happy. I'll stick with the return of the club because happiness. I love seeing these people happy. And that was a big moment. So they're not underground in a bunker for 45 hours. And I'm going that.
So it's your pick, the club, the return
Of the club.
ROTC, return of the club.
All right.
Chalk it down.
After you earlier hated.
No. You can check the tape. I didn't hate it. I disliked it. All right. LVP tonight. I mean, there's a clear LVP, but I think I'm not going to go with it. I feel like it's a layup to pick Tony, so I'm not going to go Tony tonight. I'm going to go Trev's heart for my LVP tonight because a little part of my heart broke tonight when I saw Emily choose Brad. Out of all fucking people, you choose Brad? I mean, there's how many other good-looking guys in the house? Brad?
Let me ask you this. Who else is an option? A realistic option?
Bananas?
You mean for Emily?
Yeah, like someone who's because I feel like a lot of these guys are in relationships.
Jordan? Is
Or
Jordan in a relationship?
Yeah, but you got Tori kind of lingering around.
She
People
should have
forget they were
gotten.
engaged.
She should have gotten to Theo before Olivia did.
I agree.
Agreed.
He couldn't see her.
Olivia was on the left side. Emily was on the right.
I don't know what Emily's thinking. I love Emily to death. Brad? I mean, what was that impression you had of Brad earlier? Can I hear it one more time? You sounded just like Brad.
Oh, look at me. I'm Brad. I've got a big beard. I like this girl, Emily. I think she's cute. She doesn't realize I pay alimony for my kids.
McCoy. All right, that's my pick. Who you got, Andy?
Great pick. I'm actually in between three. I got to give it to Tony. Like, I really hate to do it. I love Tony, but I think the reason he's really getting the LVP pick for me is because he's gone. He's the reason, or at least a very, very high part of the reason why we don't get to watch him anymore. Mm-hmm. So it's not necessarily just his performances today, but it's the fact that we don't get, like, we just got Tony back, and now Tony's gone because of Tony. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I mean, as I was thinking of kind of the way Tony went out and the stalemate and all of that, like, at the end of the day, wherever you stand on it, if you came into this season as a fan of Tony, the outcome of tonight's episode sucks because Tony is now gone. It doesn't matter if you think that Tony was 100% right, Avery was 100% wrong. It doesn't really matter. Tony's going home because of that. And now we're going to start episode 4 without Tony, which is just a bad thing.
Exactly.
All right, Alex, round us out. LVP.
My LVP is going to be the goof. I'm going to go with Josh. I don't think it was as Joshy of an LVP as we've seen from him in the past, because I think he is high on the leaderboards in terms of all-time LVPs. But this one was almost like just an LVP because you feel bad for the guy. With Kylan and Naya hooking up, you feel like Josh had a sliver of hope that's probably already been destroyed. And you had so are we counting it as a Josh cry? His fight.
I thought I saw a tear.
His little tiff with Tori.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a cry.
Okay. Fair enough. So yeah, he had a cry. He had a fight with his best friend, who they're not best friends anymore. So
but he loves her.
I still love you as a person, but like we're not friends. And then, I mean, also honorable mention LVP for Tori, just like cutting back there, and she's like, "How could you say that? Like, just fucking go to bed." Like these arguments are so stupid, but for that reason, I'm going with Josh as my LVP.
Can I ask a question about the goof? Is he now just kind of a fucking douchebag? Like, he's got that new hair that looks disgusting. Like, this wasn't a classic Josh. Like, Josh was upset because his little boo was with another dude, and now he decides, I feel like shit, so I'm just going to make someone else feel like shit. And he's just kind of like, like a douchebag move. Like, Josh historically was not really a douchebag. He was just kind of like out to lunch a little bit, like just kind of disconnected from like reality. But now he just kind of seems like a douchebag. You get what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. He seems like he seems like one of those like Miami douchebags. Like you would picture going to a Miami Heat game at like the end of the first quarter, leaving before the end of the game, white pants, headband on. That's just my picture of him.
But he's like a wannabe version of those guys.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's just
great pick. I was close to picking Josh. I did have one honorable mention for LVP. The CT pro tip I'm just done. I'm done with it.
Good pick.
Like, we had it, at first it was like, okay, this is kind of funny. Now it's just like a CT pro tip is have fun. Did we really need to cut away to that? Like, and I think I've said this before and I'll say it again, as long as we keep getting these, if I'm getting a little graphic come on my screen and it's not Puss in Boots, I'm going to be pissed. So I'm done with the CT pro tips.
I will say, I will bulge so hard if we get a CT pro tip, if he gets eliminated or if he wins. Like, one or the other. Like, if his last confessional, CT pro tip, don't get eliminated or something like that.
That would be good.
Or CT pro tip, always be the GOAT or something like that. Like, that would be pretty smirk.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, come on. All right. Anything else from tonight's episode before we wrap it up?
I'm excited for next week.
Yeah, are we all still like full steam ahead?
Choo,
Episode 4.
I'm building up. I'm
All
building up
locked in.
speed. I'm fired up. We got trivia next week.
God, this is the best time of the year, boys. We got the challenge in full speed. We got college football kicking off this Saturday. It doesn't get much better than this. I'm fired up. F you.
Just another thing I liked real quick about the way the format.
Are you going to watch your boy Fezzi kick off Saturday?
Well, so Fezzi's playing for the University of Tennessee. But what I was saying is that the thing I like about this format is that we now have 4 teams, obviously the 4 eras, but like era 2 and era 4 have 8 people, but era 1 and era 3 now have 7 people. And They have like different numbers of guys and girls. So I always like that. I like when you get deeper into this type of season and you have like differing numbers of total people, guys and girls. So I think that's something that we got to kind of monitor as the discrepancies get a bit larger. Chattanooga.
It can get a little mumbo jumbo-y, but
all right,
we'll keep on top of it.
On that note, thank you guys for listening to a brand new Stir the Pod podcast show. I've been your host, Trevor. You can follow us on Twitter at Stir the Pod. You can follow us on Instagram at Stir_the_pod. Thank you guys. Love you guys. Shout out Duffy.